Hey guys, so today I'm going to walk you guys through the process of forging a traditional wrap style tomahawk. Today I'm going to be using a kit designed by two of my friends, Stephen Feinstein and Ryan Johnson. These are fantastic little kits that you can buy from Mr. Feinstein himself. They're $14 a pair. They are a mild steel A36 pre-cut body blank. And then they come with a 1084 bit, and they fit just so nicely together. So today, I'm gonna walk you through step by step how I forge a tomahawk. I'm gonna set my welds on my coal iron works press, and unfortunately I'm not gonna do it in the coal forge because it's really hot. So I'm gonna do it in the gas forge instead. Let's get rolling.
When starting the forging process, it's important to fold your tomahawk blank into a symmetrical U shape. This is easiest done over the edge of the anvil. Here you'll notice I switched to my cross peen to close it up and get a nice little pinch that leaves the end of the blank fanned out, ready for the bit insertion. Inserting the bit can be a little tricky sometimes. I usually start out with the body of the tomahawk hot and the bit cold. And then once I get it close, I'll take it over to the MIG welder and I'll spot weld it to hold it in place and keep it from moving around in the forge welding process. Next, we need to flux our tomahawk blank. I like to get as much flux as possible all over the openings just to ensure that all my weld surfaces are clean, no impurities, and I get as least amount of delaminations as possible. Next, we need to set our first weld. Now this can be done on the anvil with a hammer, typically light, quick blows, but I decided to use the forging press just to make sure I get a first solid set weld. After your first initial weld, it's really important to go back through and forge weld at least 2 to 3 more times. One time, an older blacksmith told me that if you think something's forge welded, it's not, and forge weld it 2 to 3 more times. And ever since then, this has been kind of a mantra I've stuck to. If you try to stick a forge weld and it doesn't work, it just means you didn't have enough heat. Get it hotter. Here's a shot of one more forge weld. Unfortunately, I found a delamination along the spine. Whoopsie. This part of the process is by far my favorite part of the tomahawk forging process. This is where we start to fuller and spread the blade. And in my opinion, this is where the shape, the design, and the character of the tomahawk really comes to life. So you'll notice I'm fullering and spreading the tomahawk in a fan-like fashion. In this step, we're using hardy tools, different surfaces of the anvil, and different hammers to refine our tomahawk shape and get it closer to the final profile that we want. This is a really fun part of the process because you can use different hammers to really get a steeper beard and a wider blade on your tomahawk. At this point, you can really make your tomahawk look traditional or very aggressive. Now we move on to resizing, reshaping, and refining the eye. It's important at this step to not drift too hard with your tomahawk drift. Even though you may have a good solid weld, you can still bust your weld apart. The drift I'm using is designed by Ryan Johnson and is produced by Stephen Feinstein. These can be purchased with an extension that makes it a lot easier to hold on to. Next, we need to draw the tomahawk lengthwise. This will give us a nice tapered profile that'll help the tomahawk bite deep into wood and other surfaces. I love forging by hand, but I have to admit that power hammers and hydraulic forging presses make the processes go a lot easier. Once we've got our profile just right, we need to trim off the excess steel. What this does is this keeps the bit at an even thickness and allows us to easily access the carbon layer when grinding. The last step in the forging process is stamping your maker's mark. Now, it's really important to make sure you set your mark with one solid hit, and then flip the piece over and give it one more solid hit to offset any crookedness that your stamp caused. Now we just need to give it one final look over to make sure everything's straight and everything lines up perfectly. Then we can move on to grinding, heat treat, and final assembly. Here is a look at our finished Tomahawk. This one is ready for a handle. It's razor sharp and tempered to 57 Rockwell.